안녕하세요. Have you ever wondered how South Korea became one of the most dominant cultural forces on the planet? Today, Korean culture is everywhere. You see it on global music charts, top streaming sites, high-end beauty shops, and even the viral food trends on your social media feeds. This global success is known as the Hallyu Wave, and in 2026, Korean cultural influence is higher than ever. Whether you love K-pop, K-dramas on Netflix, or Korean skincare, you are part of the Hallyu 2026 growth. In today's video, we aren't just going to look at the surface. I will explain what Hallyu really means, how it started from a tough time, and why its growth was a smart plan rather than just luck. By the end, you will understand how Korea built this empire of cool. Part 1. The meaning of Hallyu. Korean Wave definition. Before we look at the history, let's define the term. The word Hallyu literally translates to Korean wave. The first character, Han, refers to Korea, and Yu means a wave or a flow. The metaphor is perfect because Hallyu isn't a single event. It's a movement. It began in Korea, flowed into nearby Asian countries, and then spread across the globe. A common mistake is thinking that Hallyu is just another word for K-pop. In reality, Hallyu is the massive umbrella that covers everything. The music, the dramas, the movies, the beauty, and the food. When someone starts by watching a BTS music video and ends up 3 months later buying a Korean cookbook and enrolling in a language class, that's the wave in action. It's a total cultural experience that changes how people live their daily lives. Part 2. Hallyu versus K-pop. What's the difference? To really understand the scale of this, we need to separate the spark from the fire. K-pop may be the most visible part of the wave, but it's only one piece of Hallyu. Think of it this way. K-pop is the front door, but Hallyu is the entire house. The wave includes K-dramas that dominate Netflix, award-winning films like Parasite, and popular variety shows like Running Man. But it doesn't stop at entertainment. It also includes K-beauty, Korean food, and even K-style fashion. Someone might start with a drama like Crash Landing on You. Then, they find themselves craving Korean fried chicken. Then, they are buying a 10-step Korean skincare set. At that point, they are not just a K-drama fan. They've been pulled into the full Hallyu world. Part 3. Hallyu timeline. How the Korean wave started. It's easy to think this all started with the internet, but the roots of Hallyu actually go back to the late 1990s. Interestingly, it didn't start with music. It started with TV. After the 1997 Asian financial crisis, South Korea needed a new way to rebuild its economy and global image. So, the government began investing heavily in cultural industries as a new economic strategy. The first real breakthrough happened in China and Japan with dramas like 겨울연가. This show was such a massive hit in Japan that its lead actor, Bae Yong-jun, became a national sensation. This period is often called Hallyu 1.0. At the time, it was mostly a local wave, but it proved something important. Korean storytelling and high production quality could connect with people outside its borders. And that set the stage for the global explosion that came later. Part 4. Why K-dramas are dominating Netflix. What makes K-dramas so addictive? It comes down to a few key things. They focus heavily on emotion. The storytelling is tight. The pacing makes it so easy to watch many episodes at once. And the visuals are incredibly polished. Most dramas balance big, dramatic moments with very relatable human emotions. And unlike many Western series, they usually tell a complete story in one 16-episode season. You get a real, satisfying ending. The real turning point came with global streaming platforms. In the past, You had to live in Asia or find DVDs to watch these shows. Now, platforms like Netflix and Viki offer high-quality subtitles in many languages. Because of that, K-dramas aren't small anymore. They are mainstream global entertainment. And along the way, they introduce viewers to Korean social etiquette, family dynamics, and even the beauty of the Korean language. If you're enjoying this breakdown of the Korean wave so far, make sure to like and subscribe. We post beginner-friendly Korean language and culture videos that help you understand the context behind them. Alright, let's get back to it and talk about the moment Hallyu truly exploded on a global scale. Part 5, The Secret K-pop Strategy. If dramas opened the door, K-pop was the first that kicked it down. Stick around until the end of this section because I'm going to reveal the one social media strategy Korean agencies used that Western labels are still trying to copy. K-pop went global because it offered something the West hadn't seen in years. A complete performance package. We're talking about highly trained idols, complex choreography, bold styling, and high-budget music videos. But the real engine behind K-pop isn't just the music. It's the fandom culture. K-pop fans are some of the most organized communities in the world. They don't just listen to songs. They act as a volunteer marketing army. They organize massive streaming parties to break YouTube records. They translate every single interview into many languages. Some even rent billboards in Times Square to celebrate their idol's birthday. Because Korean companies embraced social media early on, K-pop didn't need to wait for Western radio. They went directly to the fans. The result? A global online community that lives and breathes together. So, what is the secret strategy? It's called Fandom Engineering. While Western labels traditionally treat fans as passive consumers who just buy a ticket, Korean agencies treat fans as co-creators. By giving fans specific missions like coordinated streaming goals or voting for awards, they make the fans feel like they are part of the management team. You aren't just a fan of BTS. You feel responsible for their success. The sense of ownership is exactly what Western artists are now trying to replicate with limited success. Part 6. How the South Korean government exports culture. Here's the part that surprises many people. Hallyu wasn't just luck. The artists are incredibly talented, but there was also a long-term strategy behind the scenes. Following the 1997 financial crisis, the South Korean government significantly expanded its support for culture. Film, TV, music, and later gaming were treated as serious export industries. Korea didn't just export cars and technology anymore, it exported culture. The government supports festivals, funds Korean language programs, and works with global platforms to make Korean content more accessible. This is the definition of soft power, building global influence by sharing culture instead of using political or military force. Part 7. K-beauty trends and the global Korean food craze. Hallyu has created what economists call the K-effect. This is the change in global consumer habits. For example, after watching a character eat a bowl of ramen or tteokbokki in a drama, viewers around the world suddenly want to try those dishes. This has led to many more Korean restaurants and a jump in exports of Korean food. The same goes for K-beauty. The glass skin trend and the famous 10-step skincare routine changed the global beauty industry. This forced Western brands to catch up by copying Korean ideas like cushion foundations and sheet masks. But the industry is still changing. Now, we see more K-beauty colors for all skin tones. We also see simpler routines that focus on healthy skin instead of a long 10-step process. Even fashion has been transformed with K-style, characterized by oversized fits, minimal aesthetics, and experimental streetwear. It is now becoming the standard for Gen Z and millennials worldwide. Hallyu doesn't just entertain you. It changes how you look, what you eat, and how you shop. If you want to keep track of everything we've talked about today, I've got you covered. If you want a simple Hallyu timeline and a list of the key vocabulary from this video, check the link in the description. We've put together a free PDF so you can review the history and terms easily. It's a great resource if you are learning Korean at the same time. Now, let's talk about the 5 reasons why Hallyu works. Part 8, the 5 pillars of Hallyu's success. So, why did Korea succeed? It comes down to 5 pillars. High quality. The trainee system ensures that idols are at the top of their game before they start. Emotional connection. Korean stories focus on Han, a deep sense of sorrow, and Jung, emotional attachment, creating strong bonds with the audience. Community. Being a fan feels like being part of a family. Easy to access. Through YouTube and Viki, content is free or affordable and easily available with subtitles. New ideas. Korea is never afraid to try with new tech, from high-tech light sticks to virtual reality concerts. Hallyu is much more than just a trend. It is a major shift in the global culture. It started as a small wave in Asia and grew into a global force that has turned South Korea into one of the world's most influential cultural superpowers. Whether you are here for the music, the food, or the language, you are now a part of the Korean wave. So, I want to hear from you. What was your entry point into Hallyu? Was it a song, a drama you found on Netflix, or maybe a skincare product? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos about Korean language and culture. 감사합니다. I will see you in the next one.